Hey, hey, hey. We are live. I'm only about an hour late, but it's as good as we can get. We're like in between camp and school now, so things are, super fun around here, to put it mildly. I'm a little stuffy now, so don't mind the froggy voice. I got my water and I've got my tea, trying to get as much liquids in me as possible. Okay, I am so happy you guys are all here. So I am here to share some back to school tips with all of you. I know that starts at different points for different people in different states and time zones and things like that. So let me know in the comment box when you guys start school. I'm in Arizona and we start school in the next 2 weeks. Many schools have already started over here. So if you're local and you already started, feel free to still listen. Hopefully there will still be some tips that you could incorporate into your life of getting your kids back into the swing of things. So to start, I have 5 tips for you guys tonight, and I hope at least even one of them resonates with you. And if something does, or if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment box and I would be glad to answer them. So tip number 1, plan before you shop. Oh, this one is a good one. You really want to make sure that, especially with your kids, clothing, with their wardrobe, let's say your kids do not have a uniform where they go to school. So you really want to go through their clothing and make sure their clothes fit them. They're not too small. Take out anything that's too small, anything that might be stained. You really want to start them off with a nice new, it doesn't have to be new, but at least you can fill in the gaps. If you find that, you threw out 3 t-shirts and now your kid needs a couple more to supplement that, then you know what you need to buy, right? So make sure to go through that. Make sure you have your uniforms all ready to go. Pants or skirts and tops, socks, whatever their uniform is. Another area that you want to plan before you shop is school supplies. Go through all the school supplies that came home the year before. Make sure you don't have anything around your house that you could already, use for the coming year. So you might find that even something as basic as scissors and sharpener, you can still, cross that off the list, and it's a couple of less things that you have to buy when you go shopping. And just make sure when you go shopping, you have your list with you. You're not just guessing. Some of these school lists are pretty specific, and you just want to make sure your kid starts off the school year having everything that they need. Tip number 2, schoolwork. Make sure that starting off the school year, you have a drop zone for any incoming papers that come into the house. We know how overwhelming, paper clutter can get, and it can make the house seem very messy if we don't have a specific space. So whether that's a tray on your counter, in your kitchen, or at the entrance of your house, if you have a spot there, or in your office, wherever that space may be, you want to have somewhere where there's a drop zone to bring incoming papers. And then I like to have a spot where I just hang up any artwork or test scores that the kids come home with, and I hang them up. I have a string of twine with some clothespins, and I hang them up. And that's before I even decide if I'm keeping anything. That's not I usually know what I'm keeping and what I'm not. But this way the kids feel like their things are noticed, and I acknowledge them. And then we rotate it, right? When new things come in, we get rid of the old, and we rotate that out. And then we decide if we're throwing them out, we throw them out. And if we're filing them away, we file them away. Now, I have a keepsake box for each of my kids, so that way I can keep whatever I choose to keep. So I have over here, this is one of my kids' keepsake boxes. It's a container and it has like the ability to file inside of it. So I'm not sure if you can see, but there, basically, I have a file for each year and that they are in school, and that's how we decide what we're keeping. We make it very, very simple, and the kids really, the things that they're going to go back on are things that they're going to want to see. Every once in a while when we bring them out, they get so excited to go through their things, and it's not overwhelming. It's not like a crazy amount of paper and artwork and schoolwork. It makes the special things, it makes the treasures really, really magical and special for them. So that is something that I love. Tip number 3, car organization. If you carpool or you drive your kids to school, you really want to make sure that your car is nice and clean and neat before the start of the school year. Just a great time to get into that. Take your car for a vacuum, clear out all the garbage, and then think about what you want to have set up in the car to make sure that things are under control. So I like to have a bag that I keep all the garbage in my car, and I take out that trash every time I fill up my car with gas or I go take it for a vacuum, whichever happens first. And I would also suggest fit the vacuuming and the car cleaning out into a routine, whether that's weekly or bi-monthly, whatever you think will maintain the cleanliness in your car, then do that. If you're a busy mom with a bunch of kids, I would say do it weekly. Maybe make that part of your, getting ready for the week, all your Sunday prep for the week. Just starting off the week on a good, nice note. And it's such a nice feeling. Put yourself back as a kid, coming into a nice clean car after a long, busy day in school. That's the first thing that they're seeing. They're seeing you, of course, but we know how our environment really, really affects us. So let's do that for our kids. Okay. We are up to tip number 4. We are up to homework station. So as your kids get older, not sure how old yours are, but I have been in this homework stage for a few years now, and it is something that I notice is that my kids like to do their homework where I am, which is generally the kitchen, whether I'm cleaning up from dinner, preparing lunches for the next day. That's where they like to do it. We do homework right after dinner. So what I like to do is, since it's in the kitchen, I have a homework caddy, which is basically like a caddy with different compartments, and we keep all our homework essentials in there, pens and pencils and erasers and markers and, all the stuff that they're going to need. And we bring that out to the kitchen table when it's time for homework. I also have something that I love, and I think it's going to be a game changer in many people's homes. This little timer. I used to have the Time Timer brand. I don't have it anymore. It broke, and this is what I replaced it with, but it's the same idea. It's really cool. Oh, here, there's a glare there. There, you can see it. So let's say you have a first grader that only needs to sit and do homework for 10 minutes. You put on the timer for 10 minutes and they can actually watch the time pass, which is super, super cool and very effective. It keeps them focused. They see, I only have to sit for this amount of time. And, it works for a first grader, a fifth grader, a seventh grader. It doesn't really matter. But it's super, super effective. I use it in other areas of my home as well. And send me a message if you're interested in that. So that is really, really, really important and essential. Tip number 5. We've gone through 4 tips so far. We're up to tip number 5, and I think this is one of the most important. Sorry, I'm just going to take another drink. I'm a little bit, I have a cold, so we need some tea to soothe the throat. Tip number 5 is routines. So routines are super important to ensure that you have smooth days And if you want tips on how to set up routines, let me know. I'm happy to help you out with that. But a good way to start is by kind of working backwards. So let's say you want to have start with your morning routine. So see what time you have to leave your house by. So let's say the kids have to be out of the house by 8. What time do they wake up, or what time do they have to be up, and what do they have to do from, let's say, 7 to 8 or 6:30 to 8 to be ready to go. And write that all out. Make it clear for your kids. Make a chart. Everyone, all kids of all ages can benefit from a chart. It really doesn't matter how old they are, and it's super, super effective for them to be able to be successful and set them up for success. So we want to set up our morning routine. We want to set up our evening routine. Now, during the summer, it's very normal for bedtimes to become a little lax, but we know how important it is when kids get enough sleep. They can wake up in time. They can have a great start to their day. So now that we're getting a little closer to the start of the school year, start, going back to the time where their bedtime should be. Start inching it back about 10 minutes a night until you're at the desired bedtime. And a few other things just to set up routines. I like to do as much as I can the night before. It really, really makes for a successful morning. We never know what can come up in the morning, and we just want to make sure that that you can prepare as much as you can the night before. So for example, choosing out the kids' clothes, getting the backpacks ready by the door, having lunches prepared in the fridge. These are all things that you can do the night before that will just make for a much smoother morning and sending your kids off to school all happy and calm, right? Have a wonderful night, guys. Thank you for joining me, and let me know if you have any questions.